Liberation Day is on Saturday. It's a day of celebration. And just flicking through the programme, if you haven't seen it, there's really something for everybody this weekend. If you haven't picked up a copy of the programme, by the way, you can get one from the Information Centre and from our reception here at BBC Guernsey. One of the stars coming over for the Liberation Day celebrations, the Debbie Curtis Radio Big Band. They're going to be headlining at the Specsavers Liberation Tea Dance, which is for those people who were here during the occupation or those who were evacuated. She's also going to be performing too with her band at the Hangar Ball, and I'm delighted to say that Debbie is with us on the line this afternoon. Debbie, welcome to BBC Guernsey.
Hello there, how are you, Jim?
Very well indeed, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
This music, of course, was music of the era, music of the time of the 1940s. You sound far too young to remember that first time round.
I don't know, having been in this industry for a little while, I'm catching up pretty fast.
Why do you think that that you got involved and interested particularly in this style of music?
I think it's swing music. Don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing. The crossover of the improvised solo and the orchestrated proper music, live music, that encourages people to get up, dance, feel good, want to join in.
And do you think that people of younger generations have been exposed to it and are aware of the feel-good factor of the music?
It's taken us a few years to get it onto places where young people obviously go, which would be things like YouTube, MySpace and places like that. And when I first took over the band from my dad, people used to come up to me and say, oh, my parents would love that music. And I actually used to say to them, well, actually, I'm actually talking to you and your parents. It's a whole music that can suit anybody, any age.
So do you think it's actually having a bit of a resurgence, do you?
Yes, we've got this sort of like retro thing coming back at the moment. There's a lot of sort of 40s fashions out there, which obviously helps us. And we're doing quite a lot in the film world now, so it's starting to get, noticed again a second time round, obviously. And it is fantastic music, it's not only celebrating an era that, it was fantastic. You can move on with it today from Kenton onwards, really.
You're bringing over your band for the weekend. How many people in the band altogether?
There's 32 of us coming over. Good luck, folks. But there's 16 in the band, a 16-piece band, which is 5 saxophones, 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, and a rhythm section. So it's the proper big band, And we've got some great arrangements, doing things from Miller, Hefty, Basie, Ellington, which are all obviously fantastic numbers from that era.
So traditionally, what sort of venues would you perform at?
Ideally, as big bands, where they were popular in the so-called golden era, you had ballrooms and everything, dance venues. A lot of those were knocked down, like Hammersmith Palais, and the Astoria is supposed to be being knocked down. We're all trying to save that from, loss. And now the days, really, we're just sort of most of the time in theatres, although we're beginning to see a bigger surge of dancers, really, with things like the Liberation Ball, and we're also getting people dancing in the aisles and things like that, so that's quite a good sign.
Let's enjoy some of your music, shall we? So just give you a bit of a taste of what's in store for this coming weekend.
Hey, fingers, play that thing!
The sounds of the Debbie Curtis Radio Big Bands. They're headlining at the Specsavers Liberation Tea Dance and also at the Specsavers Hangar Ball as well for Liberation Day this coming weekend. Debbie's with us from the UK on the line with us this afternoon here at BBC Guernsey. It's certainly got the sound of the 1940s. Do you have the 1940s look as well, Debbie?
Yes, we're all in our tux, black tuxes. Band leaders actually were known as generals in tuxes, funny that. Have we got anything to beware of in Guernsey? Because we're really looking forward to coming.
Just a lot of people who are out to have a really good time.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I know lots of people are looking forward to this, and the event's ever so popular. It's interesting, isn't it? You see people at these events who get up and they dance, and brings back obviously lots of memories for them as well. My grandpa probably would have called it proper dancing, because today people don't dance together, do they? But this is proper dancing.
It was partner dancing, where you had things like Savoy, Home of the Happy Feet, Shrine to Public Dance, known as the Tracks, because it was so long, and they used to have sort of sprung maple dance floors, and we do things like the Stroll, Charleston Stroll, Lindy Hop, Jitterbug, You know, proper dancing, proper music.
Proper dancing. How do you feel when you see people getting up and enjoying the music on the dance floor?
Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And obviously when you have a really big crowd, it's lovely. And one of the things that is nice, that is starting to come back, is this dancing element in it. Things like the stroll, where you had a lot of line dancing. It's sort of, we've done quite a few things actually for line dancing magazines and things where they've linked the two together. And that's quite nice. And at the Palladium, we managed to get people sort of to try and do a bit of a stroll in the aisles.
And is that something, again, that goes down with all ages?
Yeah, definitely. We've had one of the Palladium shows. Our youngest in the audience, I think, was actually 4,
Wow.
and our oldest was 94. And I was very tempted to give the sort of youngest one things like a bunch of 78s and everything, so they could see all the vinyl things. And the oldest one an iPod.
I mean, of course, the music, this was, I say, the music of the 1940s, before the time of rock and roll, before the time of pop music as we know it today. But where did the big band music actually stem from? It
took its influence from the plantation songs, really, you know, work songs where people sort of jollied along a working day. So you've got a lot of African rhythms in there, European traditions in there as well. Originally mutes and plungers, which are the things that go in the ends of trumpets and trombones. They were originally, you know, plates, and they came from the sort of slavery, really, when instruments were brought over, and people who hadn't played them before played them in a new way. So you developed growling trumpets and trombones from that.
Well, I didn't know that.
Oh, there you go, you see. Yeah, I noticed it went silent. I thought you'd fallen asleep for a minute there.
Was it in its time a revolution?
Yeah, it was. They originally, New York Times said in 1941 that big bands were responsible for emotional imbalance and sexual excess, and that's a direct quote. Yes, it's interesting. Really.
It's funny how people say that, isn't it? When we get different genres, different eras of music, how they say the impact it has on society.
Well, the BBC originally banned the word hot, and they originally said big band music was undisciplined and played to undisciplined ears. It's a complete chaos. That sounds about right.
Have you got a collection of your own 78s as well?
Yes, I've got a massive collection. I just collect music, full stop, really, but particularly swing and big band music. Anything that's got a band of sort of 16-piece upwards, really.
Of course, your father, Eddie Curtis, had the band before you, but who have been your other musical influences?
Paddington Bear had quite a big part. Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Neil Hefti, and as far as modern arrangers go, Gordon Goodwin, Chico Farrell, quite a lot, really. There's not many I don't like. Maynard Ferguson.
And are there aspects, do you hear aspects of the big band tradition in modern contemporary music? Yeah,
there's a lot of things now that are coming out which are using big bands. I mean, like Malcolm X, that boasted some of the biggest swing dance scenes in history of film. That was in 1999. You had things like Harry Met Sally as well. Brian Setzer Orchestra in America, who have 3 Grammy Awards, which is great because that's really getting big band music out there, you know, and getting this music to new audiences without losing your original audience.
So is this your first time in Guernsey this weekend?
It is. We can't wait to come. Yeah, we can't wait. We're really, really looking forward to it. I'm really honoured to be there, actually.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a fantastic weekend. I'm sure you'll have a great time while you're here as well.
I hope we do you all justice.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. When I talk to performers, and of course they all say that actually the joy of it is not just sitting there in rehearsals or being able to play an instrument. It's actually the interaction that you get with a live audience.
Yeah, it's the whole experience. It's brilliant. And if you get it going well, it's absolutely lovely. I mean, the tea dance would be great because they are people who were there at the time, so I totally respect the fact that we're so lucky to be doing that, really. Hey,
great to have you on the programme today. I look forward to seeing you over here. Debbie Curtis and the Radio Big Band are here for the Specsavers Hanger Ball and the tea dance as part of the Liberation Day celebrations. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, Debbie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
BBC Guernsey.
We're all about the islands.
BBC Guernsey.
It's coming up on 1 o'clock.